is up, everybody? Welcome to SGU Uncut. We're in week 4 of our series, Renovate. We're not really calling it Renovate. We're taking it from North Point down in Georgia. So if you want to see their videos, we'll put it in the leader guide. You can go ahead and watch that if you want. But you won't be missing anything because we're diving into it right here, right now. So week 1, I said this is week 4. So week 1, we talked about checking the foundation, who you are at your core. Week 2 was assessing the damage. What has God put you through so far that got you to where you are today? And week 3, last week with Alex and Gianni, we talked about how you can't erase your past, but you can replace it. And today, week 4, that I've said, probably for the 4th time, call it professional. Ring, ring.
Progresso.
That's like our thing. Anyways, you're probably wondering who this is. This is Leah. Leah, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so hi, I'm Leah. I'm a cradle Catholic, so I've grown up in the Catholic Church around people like her for a while.
Isn't she lucky?
So lucky. Recently have been called to become more active in church ministry, but especially at Nativity. And within the past, I think, 5 months, I've really kind of dived into small groups and found SGU and watched Mass online and just absolutely loved it. So here I am. Here I am to worship. Anybody know the song reference?
Here I am to worship.
Right.
Here I am to bow.
Okay, they don't want to hear us.
Sorry, we don't have time.
No time.
So, we're calling professionals today. That's what we're talking about. We call professionals all the time in our daily lives. We have doctors when we're sick, teachers. My teachers hate me, but I call on them anyway. The other day, taxes were due for the 2nd time.
Right.
And I called my mom. I was like, I have no idea what the heck I'm doing here. I didn't even know what the forms were supposed to look like. I didn't have them. It was bad. And they were due that day. She's like, why are you waiting till last year? I'm like, I don't know. Just help me out. So she was my professional. But
Nice.
Any professionals you've caught on recently?
Yeah, so fortunately, I have a job as a lifeguard this summer amongst the other things that I do, to make money because I'm poor. So kind of paid to be a stalker, paid to kill my voice and yell at people. I mean,
That's what's going on here.
Hence the voice, kind of sound like a man over here, but it's okay. So I'm a lifeguard and have had some struggles actually fairly recently with coworkers and some patrons. So within the past day or two, I actually called my boss, got that courage, called the boss, and just kind of looked for the 411 on, how to handle certain situations, what to do, because I don't know everything as much as I'd like to know everything. I don't. There's my professional that I've called professional lifeguard boss.
Yeah, I like that you said you don't know everything because that's why we call them professionals.
Right.
And then once the professionals give us that information, we find this freedom.
Freedom.
Sing it, girl.
I don't know the words.
Okay.
Freedom. There it is.
Do that anyway. So freedom, what does freedom look like? We're in this new stage of life. We're young adults. We're in college, out of college. Basically, we're on our own now. We get to make decisions before that were made for us. So we're making them now. This is new to us, kind of. We get to decide what we eat, when we eat. We can go out till 2 a.m. with no consequences. Not mean my bedtime's at like 9. But that's not the point. I can go out to 2 a.m. if I want to. I don't know. What does freedom look like to you?
Freedom to me, I guess, is don't be stupid. Or you have the freedom to be stupid, but don't be stupid. Because that, growing up, my mom always said, don't be stupid.
Don't be stupid.
Got me a T-shirt, kid you not, with like a yo person.
Get you out of here. I want your mom.
I know, right? Thanks. Got me a T-shirt with like this yo person on the back. Literally, it says "Don't be stupid." I still have it to this day.
You should have worn it today.
I should have worn it today.
If there's anything you take away from this, it's don't be stupid.
Don't be stupid. But it's the freedom to make the wrong choice. It's the freedom to learn from the wrong choice and move forward and grow and make correct choices, right choices. So it's the freedom to grow. I guess freedom is growth. Freedom is the ability to make a mistake and move forward or let it hold you back. So I guess it's all perspective.
I like you caught it first.
Yeah. I have nothing on my arm, but perspective. I would say it's the freedom to be stupid, but don't be stupid. Don't be stupid. Learn that.
Yeah, that's good. So Proverbs, actually, the book of Proverbs, give us a little lesson on this. There's this one verse especially, the fear of others will prove to be a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord will be kept safe. So this fear of others, what does that mean? What do you think?
Yeah, the fear of others, I would say, kind of goes into what a lovely young lady has talked to me about recently, which is just I know.
I can't really wink. That
Wink,
was bad.
wink. Which is, the fear of others is kind of a societal illness. And societal illness, break that down for a second, is, society tells us to do one thing, which usually is against the will of God and the love of God and what he wants for us. But the fear of others, I guess, is kind of the fear of missing out. FOMO, if anybody knows. FOMO. And so it's the FOMO, and what comes from that is kind of being ridiculed or, made fun of, and, the fear that comes from missing out. And so that's what I would, I guess, briefly state the fear of others is FOMO.
Yeah, we just strive for this acceptance, especially at our age. We don't want rejection. The fear of others is what holds us back. In fact, it proves to be a snare. So I'm just going to show you really quick. This is a snare. If you don't know what a snare is, I'm going to hand it to Leah, and she's going to pretend I'm God for a second.
What's a snare?
Well, I'm going to elaborate in just a second.
Okay.
Yeah, so why don't you just stick your hand through it?
Oh, my.
And I want you to pull. Pull away.
Oh, my.
Hurts, doesn't it?
A little bit.
The more you pull harder. Let's break her wrist while we're at it. I'm God, so I'm holding on to it, but she's pulling away from me because this snare is what's holding her back. This is the fear of others. It proves to be a snare, and she's putting all her weight on it. But give that weight back. Give it back to me. No, just put your hand. Wait. Look, move your arm all around. Nothing. Because whoever trusts in the Lord will be kept safe. Whoever trusts in the Lord will be kept safe. So give it back to me. Give back to God. Give your snare to God.
Oh, my.
I'm God.
Mm-hmm.
Give your snare back to me. So what does giving your snare back to God look like?
Kind of.
Do you want to start? What is your snare? What is your personal snare?
Yeah, let's go with that. FOMO, I would say. Kind of the reason why I tied that into is it's my snare, the fear of missing out on those experiences with your friends or with my friends who not all of them choose to make the decisions that I would necessarily love to be a part of. So, I'm not, if anybody knows me, I'm not a partier. I don't really, do this, that, all these different things, alcohol, drugs. It's not me. And not that, I judge other people, but it's the fear of missing out on the experience that I know I wouldn't enjoy, And so, trusting in the Lord going into that, which is underlined so wonderfully there, it's surrendering. It's surrendering to God in the way that he's asked us to recognize and acknowledge.
I love that word.
I know, me too. His love. Step one. Acknowledge, to recognize his love. And, so often the fear of others, people seep into our minds and our hearts. We can't turn off our listening ears as much as adults used to say, turn on your listening ears, but we hear it all. We hear the shame and the ridicule toward us. And it doesn't just go in our ears, it goes in our heart, but it's surrendering to God and trusting in the fact that he loves us and that his words, which come to us in silence, which is so hard, that his words are the things that will keep us safe, that will lead our heart to an abundance of love and trust and just light. And it's so hard for me since I'm somebody who was give me a road sign, road, work ahead.
I sure hope it does.
Right. It's true. It's so true. I mean, I hope it does, right? That's all we can do is we can only
trust. You have faith. Whoever trusts.
Right.
So it can be anyone.
And it's trusting. Trusting is blind, and it's letting go. Right. Surrendering. And it's trusting and recognizing that God, Jesus, God, same person, is the only person who never tells your secrets, the person who never turns their back on you. As much as it might seem like it sometimes, I've lived through that. And the one who will always love you no matter what. The only person, but you have to listen to the way that he speaks to you. And Sadie Robertson, somebody can correct me, Duck Dynasty chick, Dancing with the Stars.
All right.
She recently said something, it was probably this week, and she said, I need to get better at hearing the voice of God instead of listening to the opinion of man. And hearing the voice of God, again, it comes in silence, and it comes in such a way that we're not used to because God is so unique, and he has his own way of speaking to each and every one of us. When society, and that's silent illness, I guess I could say too, it seeps in the ways that we listen to it, the way that we can hear it, because it's so loud, cancels out God half the time. And so recognizing and hearing his voice in ways that, you wouldn't necessarily hear society's voice or whatever, that's the way that we can trust and let go and surrender. At least in my experience, my little experience at life.
You're fresh 20 years.
That's right.
Not even, 19.
Close, next month.
Yeah, there you go. Happy birthday. We don't have time.
We don't have time. Not enough time. It's uncut.
Next month, we'll be back.
Uncut.
Anyways, I liked how you touched on Jesus. He is the one we trust in, the person. Because let's talk about Jesus a little bit. He came down in the flesh as a human
Right.
for us. He knows all our snares. He experienced all of them.
Right.
And he died in the worst death possible.
Right.
But after being in that tomb, his heart was done. He's out. But then, plot twist, he came back to life.
Oh, yeah. That's right. It's true.
Shocker, I know. But now that he resurrected, we find life in Jesus' death.
Right.
Jesus gave his life. You've heard it a million times, but it's the acknowledgement of it. I mean, that has the power, acknowledging that Jesus died for you, died for your sins, all your snares. You don't have to have any snares right now, or ever, actually, because we have new life in Jesus' death.
Right.
Yeah. What do you think about that? Do you find your life in Jesus?
Like, yes. Now I do. Now I do. But it's, as kids and growing up, we're all told, Jesus died for your sins. He loves you. And we hear that, but do we acknowledge that? Do we feel that in our hearts? And, I was talking to my small group, and unfortunately, the way life goes is it takes time to know things, to understand things to a full capacity. We'll never understand it all, which kind of is sad, but that's okay. It's okay. There's beauty in the mystery until we get to heaven. And, recognizing, understanding, acknowledging that Jesus died for us and he loved us, and all he asks in return is for us to love him and live a life that's pleasing to him and the children of God that he's put on this earth. And there's power in that. There's power behind that. And again, recognizing that is a powerful kind of an open door for us to walk through, and it's free. It's free. It's not like we have to pay $16, door of God. No, it's free. You walk right into it, and it's knowing that that's the step and taking that step that changes your life. And only time, only after some hardships can we actually find that sometimes, but it's all worth it. It's all worth it.
Yeah. And all of that acknowledgement ties back into the freedom. Once you can almost change it around. We have freedom in Jesus' death. Freedom. That's the bottom line. You know Jesus, you know freedom. You acknowledge it. So we know freedom is in Jesus. What stops us from obtaining that freedom?
Kind of circling back around, I would say society and the societal onus in the way that we're spoken to in a direct way that is kind of the devil in a way. If it's not of God, it's of the devil.
Yeah.
And, being told we're not enough, being told that, going to church isn't cool, and having to step away from that. It's hard. It's so hard. And I think, what holds us back is what we hear that's not from God. And I guess a way to kind of fix that is opening our hearts in the way that he asks us to, by just listening. Just listening in that silence. And it's so hard as somebody who wants to, again, see it right away. And I see I see God work in people's lives in such a profound way, but I don't even see it in mine half the time. But it's listening and hearing the way that he uniquely speaks to each and every one of us that will keep our hearts open to hearing him instead of hearing society, things that are of the devil. I'm not saying that society is all of the devil. I mean, I would never venture. That's huge. Right. Right.
Guys like, the devil.
Yeah, right. I would never venture to say that's huge, but just recognizing that the love and the power of the Lord is what sets us free, and that's our freedom. Kind of going back to what you said.
Freedom. But God doesn't just give freedom to give freedom. He gave his son's life for it.
Right.
And so what do you do with that? That's a huge price to pay.
Right.
What do you do with that? Funny you should ask. You will experience what Jesus wants you to do when you experience what Jesus has done for you.
Right.
So all the acknowledgement. Calling a professional, that's what the episode's called, but it's acknowledgement of Jesus' power, of what he can do in your life, of how you can help others do the same.
Right.
So what do you think Jesus wants you to do with your life?
I think
that's a hard question. That was a
that's a big question. Big question. I would truly say we're all children of God, and so often I think sometimes we feel like we're better or worse than others, but in the reality of it all, we're all the same playing field, children of God, and I think God wants us. Jesus wants us to move forward with our life in a way that's serving his children, that's serving him, and that's wonderful and beautiful. And I truly think that that's what we're called to do.
Yep. And that freedom, that's what God intended for us all along. From the beginning, God's intention for us was freedom. I mean, we saw it in Genesis. He gave the freedom to Adam and Eve. And yeah, they lost it. Let's be real. But that's his intention from the beginning. And now it's our turn to work to get that freedom back.
Right.
And that's the bottom line. There's
Right.
nothing greater than God's freedom. Jesus is
Amen to
freedom.
that.
Jesus
Amen to
is the
that.
professional. Give
There
him
you
a
go.
ring, you know?
Progresso. Right. Oh, you have to say ring, ring.
Ring, ring.
Progresso.
There you go. There you go. She gets it. So call a professional, call Jesus, live in freedom.
Right.
That's it.
There we go.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us today. This is week 4 of Renovate, SGU Uncut. We hope that our conversation here fuels your conversation in small group. We'll see you next week.
Catch you on the flippy flip.